Hi everybody, Carl here, KE0JWK. Sorry it's taken me so long to get back to this video series on the IG MiniVNA software with the MFJ225 antenna analyzer. Sometimes life and procrastination get in the way of my hobbies, but here we are, we're back again. Going to take a look at the a little more of the software, mess around with a few things, show you what my antenna looks like on there, my main antenna anyway, which is a 5-wire fan dipole. Right now you're looking at a dummy load. It's a commercial made dummy load. Just looking at the SWR on it, you can see everything is in my usable range of this is well below 1.5 to 1. Let's take a look here in the 2 meter area. That's at 144. And we're looking at an SWR of 1.2. Honestly, anything HF for me, if I've got an SWR showing of 3 to 1, or under, I don't really blink an eye too much. I do run my HF rigs through an antenna matchbox, the MFJ Deluxe VersaTuner 2 to be specific, so I don't have any problem tuning up. As far as rigs go, one's in the shop right now, and it was a little beyond. No, let's be honest. It was a lot beyond my expertise. So a friend of mine's taking a look at it for me. So I'm running a Kenwood TS120S and a Kenwood 820S, or the rigs that I run for HF. So anyway, back to the software here. You're looking at a commercially made dummy load at the moment. Let's switch it over to a homebrew dummy load, which is actually I believe it was the first amateur radio related project that I built, and that's a look at it. It still looks good. The highest, in the usable areas anyway, the highest SWR, let's look at 144. That's where we were on the other one, and it is a 1.28 to 1. So I'm happy with it. But on to bigger and better things now. Let's switch it over here. A couple of antenna switches. Let's get it going out to the fan dipole. Let's sweep that antenna. This is the entire spectrum for me and beyond for this analyzer anyway. 0.1 megahertz all the way up to 180. That's what it looks like. Obviously, we've got a lot of clutter here on the screen, so we can narrow this down a little bit and get a closer look at something specific that we might want to look at. Let's look at 160 through 10 meter, and give it a second to update here. Get the sweep button. There we go. So we've got all that VHF, UHF stuff out of the picture. We're just anywhere from 1 megahertz to 30 megahertz. You can see we've got some nice dips here. There's right about 1.9 for 160 meter. Moving on over, let's see where we're at here. We are in the 75 meter range. I'll just call it 80 meter, which is what I'm in the habit of doing. I'm trying to break myself of it. Let's see. We are there's 3.95 megahertz. Let's get down just a little bit, see where we can get it here. 3.9, and the SWR there is 2.1 to 1. No problem for me with the using the antenna matchbox. Let's get over here to the 40 meter band. There's 7.38. Let's back up just a little bit here, and right here is where I'm down here in the bottom. When I put my cursor on the screen, you can see I can get wherever my cursor is is what it's what's going to read off in the bottom. So moving, let's go down to about midway in the band. I'm a general licensee, so I use just the general portion of the band. If I'm looking to work, to do anything to my antenna, I'll narrow this down to just the area that there's 7.264. The SWR is a bit high right there. It's 8.1 to 1, and but it's still doable with my antenna matchbox. And let me show you a little picture here, a quick drawing I threw together on one of the reasons some of my SWR is a little high. This is my 5-wire fan dipole. If you can see, right at this point and this point is where my pulleys are attached to 2 trees. The distance between the 2 trees wasn't quite long enough for my 160 wire, and anything past the pulley I had supported up in the tree almost straight out. They were coming down on a slight angle, but due to the winter weather and some ice and snow and some really high winds we had, the tips of them wires have fallen down, and they're hanging almost straight down now. It has affected my antenna. It's still performing all right, but in the spring or summer I'm going to have to do a little something with it and get those supported back out, more straight out the way they should be. But in the meantime, I'm living with it the way it is. So let's shrink that back out of the way here. I'm going to cooperate. Okay, there we go. So let's just pick a portion of the band to look at. Let's go to 20 meters. Go to our predefined bands, which we talked about in a previous video, and you can set the ranges on them. I guess there we go. There's the sweep. That's the 20 meter band right there. Now you can see it's got some pretty big up and down spikes that go high. There again, well within the range of my use. I always keep an eye on this thing ever since the damage has occurred. A little closer, I keep an eye on an SWR meter that's in line. Actually, there's one built into my matchbox. Now, one thing I don't think we talked about here is the different views in previous videos. Is the different views you can look at. There's your Z, brings it up, superimpose it. You turn the SWR off, and that's what you've got. The return loss, it throws that in there for you. You can get rid of the other 1 or 2 and just look at the return loss. Phase angles, there they are. Let's get them out of there. And resistance and reactance. Okay, so let's bring the SWR back up here. As you can see, the dips in the reactance coincide pretty much with the dips in the SWR. Yeah, so if you're new to analyzers and working on antennas and you're watching this, whenever you're using one and you're setting up an antenna, you want to get this reactance as close to 0 as you can get it. You're generally not going to hit 0. I guess it's possible. I've had issues in the past. It seems like if I can get the reactance to 0, the SWR shoots way up. So, anything with antennas is usually a compromise. Get that out of there. Let's just go back to looking at SWR just for the moment anyway. The predefined. Let's look at 10 meters for a minute. As soon as it sweeps, there we go. Now, I really don't use 10 meters much. Every once in a while I get on there and spin around, try to find a little activity. But, it is I do have a 10 meter wire on the fan dipole. I will say this, I'm not sure how good my actual wire is. Because generally on a fan or any type of a dipole, you want to keep it as straight as possible, and a lot of people run inverted V's, and my 10 meter wire on my fan is an extreme inverted V. The angle between the two wires really shouldn't go below 90 degrees, and we'll bring that picture back up here. This picture, this little sketch I've got here is a little misleading. These two lowest wires are my 10 meter, and they're actually more horizontal than vertical. The angle between them is pretty small, but what's going on there, hope I don't need that picture again because I closed it instead of shrunk it. What's going on there is, I believe I'm picking up 10 through Harmonics. I did some math the other day, and for the Harmonics on the antenna and antennas in general, where my 160 wire is actually giving me 60 meters, 12 meters, 10 meters, and 6 meters due to Harmonics. My 75-80 meter wire gives me 11 meters, which if you've got a CB in your shack that work out well for you, I don't. Nothing opposed to them, I just don't happen to have one up and running. Anyway, it gives me 11 meters and also 6 meters. If you had a 60 meter wire, it'd give you 11 meters and 2 meters. A 40 meter wire will give you 15 and 6. A 30 meter wire will give you 6 and 1.25. A 20 meter wire, no useful Harmonics on the 20 meter wire, unless I made some mathematical errors in my calculations. 17 meter wire will also give you 6. A 15 meter wire will give you 70 centimeter also. Don't know how useful that is, but it's there. And a 10 meter wire will also give you 2 and 70 centimeters. Just a little breakdown there. So, you know, if you had the room to put up only a 160 wire, you could also use 60 meters, 12 meters, 10 meters, and 6 meters off of that one wire. In my case, let's put it that way, the only one of those that would be usable, the only two of those I should say that would be usable would be 160 and 10, because those are the only two in that list that I have a radio that I operate on. So I'm good for 160, 75/80, 40, 20, 15, and 10 meters is the only bands that I've got radios to run on. It makes my life a little simpler. One of these days, maybe I'll pick up a radio to play on a few other bands. But at the moment, that's what I'm operating on. Let's go back and look at the 160 through 10. So all these spikes that you're seeing up and down through here, you know, some of them are useful for me. All of them might be useful for you. I don't know. I haven't really looked at it that close to see if they're all even in the amateur bands, but some of them are definitely useful for me. You know, you can close in on any of them and take a closer look at them, just to see exactly where you're at. There's the 15 meter band, which runs from, I don't play on 15 too much, but so actually I'm going to look at my chart, from 21,275 up to 21,450. So this is going to drop off right about here. I've got a good portion that would be usable even without the matchbox, the antenna tuner. Well, out of habit, like everybody else, I call them tuners all the time, when in reality they don't tune your antenna. They're a matchbox to provide an impedance match between the radio and antenna. But, you know, so if you ever catch me referring to it one way or the other, you know, they're kind of interchangeable. Some people get a little anal about calling them a matchbox. I don't really care. Call them whatever you want. We all know what you're talking about, and that's the important part. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. Please like, share, subscribe, and leave comments. If you've got any specific questions about the software or the analyzer, please throw them in the comments there, and I'll be glad to do my best to answer them. You know, I haven't had this thing that long, and You know, like I said a while ago, life and procrastination gets in the way of my hobby sometimes, so it's not like I'm sitting down working with this thing every day. But I'll do the best I can to answer any questions you've got. You know, leave it in the comments. Shoot me an email, whichever works. I'd prefer you left it in the comments because that way it's public and everybody else can benefit from the question and answer also. You know, sometimes it may not work out well for me because I give a wrong answer, but hey, I like to correct myself if I do make a mistake, so it would show up there too. All right, everybody, 7-3. Catch you later. This is Carl, KE0JWK.